One of the more frustrating things that happens to me a lot is that I get called a Trump supporter. And it's usually by people who don't really pay attention, don't are somewhat apolitical and don't really see the nuances in not just a presidential campaign, but almost any campaign. And most of it is the candidate, but an even bigger percentage is their opponent, I believe, when it comes to who people decide they're going to roll with or not. Your party matters. What your party put forward matters. And this is coming to us from the Daily Caller. Democrats unanimous as House passes bill forcing schools to let male athletes compete in girls' sports. And you wonder why he's gonna win in 2020. This is why I don't even talk about 2020 that much, because the blue side, the blue team, has decided that it's going to do everything in its power to help Trump get reelected. And so when I get called a Trump supporter, it's like, no, I just see the writing on the wall. And this is a big part of the reason why they're about to lose. The democratically controlled House of Representatives voted Friday 236 to 173 in favor of the Equality Act, which would require schools to include male athletes who identify as transgender girls on female sports teams. This is why I believe gender, the entire science, quote unquote, and concept of gender is complete bunk. All right? And as far as this, you don't have to worry about this legislation getting anywhere because they don't control the Senate, and it would have to go through the Senate in order to get to the president's desk. So this Equality Act is really nothing more than lip service and a show for a set of voters that, is really minuscule in the grand scheme of things. 8 Republicans crossed party lines to vote for the bill, which had unanimous Democratic support. The bill amends the Civil Rights Act of 1964, because you always got to tie it back to that, to make sexual orientation and gender identity protected characteristics under federal anti-discrimination law. Well, sexual orientation is something that I like. I've always put it this way: I don't want anybody hurt. I don't want anybody discriminated against or anything else like that. But it's really something that's nobody's business except for your own. And so, shut up. And gender identity, once again, gender's nonsense. Look at John Money and his experiments on those brothers. Among other things, that would force public schools to expand female athletic teams to include biological males who identify as transgender girls. Republican Florida Rep. Greg Steube introduced a last-minute amendment to the bill that would have preserved Title IX's protections of female athletic teams, but Democrats rejected it. Now, of course, because the word equality is such a blanket statement for them. And with the Democrats in the House voting for this, that means that my representation, Congressman Donald Payne Jr., he voted for it. But that's to be expected because he himself has said he's a puppet. Every House Democrat but one co-sponsored the legislation. The only Democrat who wasn't a co-sponsor, Illinois Rep. Dan Lipnitsky, announced his support for the bill following pressure from left-wing activists. People need to wake up. This radical bill is going to totally eliminate women and girls' sports. Republican Arizona Rep. Debbie Lasko warned in an op-ed Thursday, and she's not wrong. There's a reason we separated men and women's sports in the first place, and it's because it really just is on average. On average, because I know plenty of athletic women, I know plenty of non-athletic dudes, but on average, no. No, not at all. It's just biology. It's the way that we develop. It's the way our brains function. They have to be separated. I've done 3 or 4 stories on athletes that usually black male athletes competing in female sports and just dominating. Republican Missouri Rep. Vicky Hartzler and a half dozen other House Republicans held a press conference Thursday in opposition to what Hartzler dubbed the Inequality Act. Congress enacted Title IX to provide equal opportunities for women in education and sports. All this is erased under H.R. 5, Hartzler said at the press conference. 3 former elite female athletes, Daraine Coleman, Martina Navratilova, and Sonia Richards Ross, warned that the Equality Act would wreak havoc in sports in an April 29th Washington Post op-ed. The legislation would make it unlawful, oh man, I cannot talk this morning, to differentiate among girls and women in sports on the basis of sex for any purpose. For example, a sports team couldn't treat a transgender woman differently than a woman who is not transgender on the grounds that the former is male-bodied, the former athlete's role. Yet, the reality is that putting male and female-bodied athletes together is co-ed or open sport, and in open sport, females lose. And the three women warned, and they are not wrong. They're not wrong at all. On average, we're faster, stronger. We definitely have upper body strength. I mean, this is just the worst type of virtue signaling, legislative virtue signaling. House Judiciary Chairman Jerry Nadler, a Democrat from New York, insisted the bill wouldn't put female athletes at a disadvantage. Now I kind of feel like those abortion chicks that be like, "Hey, can't no man tell a woman." Many states have sexual orientation and gender identity non-discrimination laws, and all of them still have women's sports. Arguments about transgender athletes participating in sports in accordance with their gender identity having competitive advantage have not been borne out. Oh my God. Now, I don't believe everything my eye says, but when it's as blatant as that Brina versus CC picture that I have in the other video that I did on the NCAA trans champion, then I don't know what to tell anybody. In Connecticut, one of the states to which Nader was referring, two male runners have dominated girls' high school track. A female competitor called the male runners' advantage demoralizing. And I believe this is the end of Peter Hassan. I'm sorry, Mr. Hassan. I normally shout out the authors. Peter Hassan. You see how that's like worded there. Yeah, I normally shout out the authors of the articles beforehand. But yeah, so my apologies, Mr. Hassan. Long and short is that men aren't women, women aren't men, no one's equal, and we really have to stop. Well, honestly, this isn't going to get anywhere, which is kind of why I'm a little half-hearted and even talking about this, because, you know, as long as the red team holds the legislature, holds the Senate, then, you know, this isn't getting past the House. But it just goes to show how willing they are to focus on damn near anything else except for what will help, you know, American people. They don't want to focus on immigration. They don't want to focus on taxes. They don't want to focus on the economy, primarily because they can't, because, you know, Donald Trump got it popping. So this is their virtue signaling, and this is why they're going to lose in 2020. But this is not equality, okay? I mean, honestly, I think equality is a false point, is a false goal, you know, because you can never really, people have different capacities, and this goes for men, women, girls, boys. It really doesn't matter. We have different capacities. Some people are good at some things, some people are terrible at other things. We're supposed to come together and work in harmony, in unison, in order to better further ourselves and our communities as collectives, right? And in that way, we get to better serve the country. That's why, yeah, it may seem unequal, but unfortunately, that's just how it rolls. It's like in the white privilege video that I did. Somebody has to think of things first, right? Like if you didn't have the capacity to think of flight, and then you didn't have the ingenuity or the skill to think of flight, it's really disingenuous to sit there and be like, oh, well, no black person did this or no woman did this. And it's because, well, you know, you're not the one that thought of it, right? You didn't have the capacity and the strength and the ability to make it happen. And then once it happened, you know what? By all means, have at it. No, I don't think anyone should deprive you of it. But until then, we all, and this is myself included, we all have to be more, you know, self-aware and understand, you know, hey, not everything is for me. God didn't give me the gifts that I have to waste them trying to be something that I'm not, if that makes sense. So with that being said, I'm going to bring this video to an end. If you like it, toss me a like or a dislike. I'm not scared. Sub, because you enjoy my fantastic voice. Share. Sharing is caring. And speak. Let me know. What do you think? Do you think this equality is more virtue signal from the Democratic Party? Do you think that the Democratic Party has any shot in hell of beating Trump in 2020? By all means, let me know. And until the next video.